The Astros cap off a 9-game road trip with a sweep at Tampa Bay, extending their winning streak to 8 games in a row. Jeremy Pena and Alex Bregman both went off in this series, hitting 2 home runs each. And meanwhile, Justin Verlander will be making his second and likely final rehab start this week. We're going to talk all about it and so much more coming up next. Stay tuned. How sweet it is. Second straight video I've been able to say that, and man does it feel sweet. So the Astros capped off a 9-game road trip with the sweep at Tropicana Field against the Tampa Bay Rays after they had taken 2 out of 3 against them at Minute Maid Park a couple of weeks ago. Meanwhile, the Mariners coming into today have lost 2 straight against the Tigers. They still play today on a day that the Astros do not, so we'll see how that plays out. But it's still crazy to think that approximately 2 months ago, the Astros were 10 games out of first place, and now they are 2.5 games up. So they have gained 12.5 games in less than 2 months on the Seattle Mariners. Crazy. Anyway, let's talk about this series against the Rays. Before we do that, though, let's dive into a quick injury update. Justin Verlander, like I said at the beginning of this video, will be making his second and likely final rehab start this week for AA Corpus Christi. They will actually be playing in northern Arkansas, where Kansas City's AA team is located. So again, we'll see how that start goes. If all goes well, he should be rejoining the Astros rotation next week, I would assume. And Kyle Tucker, meanwhile, appears to be turning the corner as he did some outfield drills this week in Tampa Bay. He rejoined the Astros in Tampa Bay after he had spent the first 2 series of this road trip in Houston rehabbing. But he should hopefully be back later this month. I would hope maybe by the end of this month, I would assume. But, again, we'll see what happens. But so far, Joe Espada and Dana Brown appear to be very pleased with where he is at. So hopefully he'll be okay. Anyway, diving into the series itself, starting here in this first game, Framber Valdez had continued to stare after he had finished 1 out shy of a no-hitter in his last start. He didn't come much closer to 1 in this one, but that doesn't really matter. He went 5 2/3 innings. He got 9 strikeouts. He is 7-0 with a 2.68 ERA. In his past 9 starts, all of which the Astros have won. And Yonier Diaz has been behind the plate for 7 of those starts. Let's face it, dude. Yonier Diaz and Framber Valdez are an infamous battery. They're certainly one of the best out there. Framber had a very bad start against the Angels a couple of months ago, where he supposedly deviated from Diaz's game plan. But you might as well just toss that behind him. Going into the series itself here, Bregman hit a home run in the first inning to get the scoring started. His 3rd home run in as many days, and 1 of 2 he'd hit in this series. And then an RBI single by Jordan would make it 2-zip. And then he would also take the team lead in RBIs on the season ahead of Yonier Diaz. That is for the time being, because on the very next pitch, or at least the very next batter, at the very least, he would hit a 3-run blast to make it 5-0 Astros, and give him that honors and give him that lead right back to make it 5-zip Astros. Rays would get on the board an inning later on a sac fly that would score Taylor Walls after he had tripled on a fly ball that was just misplayed by Pedro Leon. He appeared to have overran it. Granted, this was his first time playing at the stadium, so, I guess he just kind of fell for it, but rookie mistakes, they all happen, so I wasn't too upset about that, because the Astros would then get that run back in the 5th inning after Myers would reach on a fielder's choice with the bases loaded. That would score a run. And then Taylor Scott and Caleb Ort would cover the rest of the game as the Astros would win 6-1 and gain a half game on Seattle, who was idle on this night. So going into game 2, you say Kikuchi, I say victory. That's right. Kikuchi would unfortunately fail to go 6 innings since the Astros had gotten him from the trade deadline, but nonetheless, he did pitch well. But this game would have some drama before it even started, as Jordan Alvarez would hit the scoreboard and make it non-functional during batting practice, as he had hit a ball that just hit off of it. This is actually the 2nd time in his career that he has even hit a scoreboard during batting practice, because during his rookie season in 2019, he would actually do the same to Minute Maid scoreboard, but the Astros video production crew actually responded with that right away and put a nice little message on the screen and displayed the broken section, but thankfully they were able to fix that, which was not the case for this scoreboard, as it was non-functional for the entire game. And there was a little bit of humor going around saying that Jordan Alvarez did in fact do it, but Jordan, meanwhile, was trying to claim that fans didn't have proof that it was him. but and then it was just kind of funny all around. So diving into the scoring of this game, the Rays would strike first on a 2-out RBI single, but the Astros would answer with an RBI single of their own by Yonier Diaz, and they would follow it up by home runs by Alex Bregman, his second home run this series and fourth in as many days, and also Jeremy Pena an inning later to make it 3-1. The Astros would, however, squander a scoring opportunity in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and only 1 out, and that ended up looming huge because Presley would end up getting into some trouble after the Rays would load the bases themselves with only 1 out, and he would allow a run to score on an RBI groundout by Brandon Lau. That first baseman, Yonier Diaz, yes, that's right, Diaz was playing first base in this game. He had made a good play on this groundout that otherwise may have tied the game had he not made it. So that was a good play. It did score a run, like I said, but it wasn't enough for the Rays to rally against Josh Hader, who converted his 26th consecutive save, and the Astros would win 3-2. Series finale, Ronel Blanco went 6 innings in this game. He could have gone a little bit longer, but he was halted for a precautionary reason after a comebacker that he had a close call with appeared to have hit off his pitching hand, would prevent him from going further, but luckily it wasn't too bad. X-rays came back negative on his arm, and he expects to make his next start without any issues, so that's a good thing. Pena went yard in this game once again, his second home run this series to get the scoring started for the Astros, who only had 2 hits in this game, this being one of them, but ultimately it was enough for the Astros to win 2-1, albeit in 10 innings. The Rays were tied in the 8th to send the game to an extra inning, and then Dubon would come in the clutch to snap an 0-4 with an RBI base hit to plate Pedro Leon, who was pinch running for our Manfred runner. I can't remember who was supposed to go on there originally, but he would bring in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning, and then Josh Hader would end up pitching 2 innings in this game to seal the deal and complete the sweep for the Astros. Next up for the Astros, it should get pretty easy from here. They will be welcoming the Chicago White Sox into town this weekend. So hopefully they can handle business and hopefully at least extend their winning streak. I mean, do I expect a sweep? Certain, probably, but at the same time, but at the very least, in order to ensure that we can get a sweep, we need to at least not be playing down to the level of competition and lowering our standards against a lowly Chicago White Sox team. Because if some of you guys might remember, last year around mid to late September, the Astros had gotten swept by a lowly Kansas City Royals team. Now, granted, the Royals are a lot different this year, but if you kind of compare to how they were last year, they had 100-plus losses going into that series, and they pulled off a sweep against the Astros. We can't let that happen for a lowly Chicago White Sox team that's, granted isn't playing for much, but, again, this White Sox team is still playing like they want to win, even though they're, it's been a very sad season for them. Like I said, we can't be lowering our standards against a lowly Chicago White Sox team because we just can't have that happen. I'm sorry. Hopefully it can go well. I'm going to be at Saturday's game, so we'll see how that goes. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you guys leave a like. If you want to see more, consider hitting that subscribe button. I upload at least 2 of these videos every single week after each series that the Astros play, whether it's the series that we sweep, whether we get swept ourselves, or anything in between that. So if you want to watch any of my other videos, click these ones that are above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next video.